And what is your plan to interact with the LDs to get them to entice businesses to come over, have their businesses, move headquarters here to Arizona? How are you going to work with the LDs? How are you going to work with the state and local municipalities to try to, because I know you have a pretty diverse business background, so how are you going to incorporate that into working with the state and local program?
Yeah, I think with one, we have to engage the leaders of the party. That would be the county chairs, the legislative district chairs. That it's all going to take all of us. We all know people. Right now, there's not that communication going back and forth. I think that what we need to do is that we have to meet with these top business people throughout the state and let them know what's going on. And again, it's one of those things that if we are moving something in the right direction, people want to be a part of it. And the goal is to raise a lot of money. We're going to have to raise a lot of money because in 2012, the game, the teams and the players are going to be so much different. And 2008, the Democrats had an opportunity when they basically swept all the races, and pretty much throughout the state of Arizona, but especially in Pinal and other counties, that they had an opportunity to really build themselves, and they blew that opportunity. 2010 was the exact opposite. We took all the races. We swept a lot of the races throughout the state. Pinal, we won every race. But now we have the opportunity to take 12. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of commitment and dedication. And it's going to take a belief in the unifying the party. And we're going to need to get the senators and congressmen and all of our elected officials back into working with us, not against us.
And you're going to obviously entice them to use the free market principles and stand on that no matter what the opposition is. We all know that raising taxes and an economic downturn is not going to entice business to be here. It's not going to generate revenue. It's going to decrease revenue.
Absolutely, and Arizona's really a great place, and we need to get businesses here to Arizona. Our economy is struggling right now. A lot of our economy is based on tourism, and that's really suffered over the last couple of years. And we also have the crisis of the housing market. So a lot of things are playing into it, and one of the things that was a warning sign when Napolitano was there is that we can't keep spending the money that we're spending. We can't always think that the tourism is going to be here and everything else. We're banking on things that we don't really know. So let's put a plan in place to get businesses in and build up the economy. That is something that is tangible that we do know. And if the tourism hopefully will come back again with conventions and everything else, that we could possibly get some big businesses outside the state to come out here, then we'll be okay. But I think the other thing is we need to do is entice businesses to come to Arizona. And for some reason we're not getting them to come out here.
And maybe we can have a local congressman like a Raul Grijalva not call for boycotts of our state. Maybe that might help too.
I think
just wanted to put that out there.
I think the Democrats told Grijalva to go on vacation for a couple of weeks because after he made a couple comments, you didn't hear from him much anymore.
Yeah, well, unfortunately you're hearing from him again.
Yes.
We'll take care of that in 2012.
Absolutely.
And how are you going to work to get the Republicans in D.C. to understand that they work for us, we don't work for them, and they need to listen to their constituents here in Arizona and not their Beltway buddies? What are you going to do as far as that, starting to stand and working with the Beltway crowd?
Well, a couple things. I'm going to have a lot more communication with our elected officials back in D.C. Right now, I don't think we have a consistent communication. So it's more of a, every once in a while we have that conversation, but it's not on a consistent basis. I will highly suggest to all of our elected officials to, when they come back into Arizona, to do town hall meetings, to be out there a little bit more, because I think town hall meetings allows people to get up and hopefully not only just voice their frustration, but also be able to compliment our elected officials if they're doing something good. I think that I think it's all of our fault that we allow this to happen. That the elected officials think that we work for them and they don't work for us. I think that's just a message that I will consistently deliver in my conversations, whether it be with Senator McCain, Senator Kyle, or any of our U.S. congressmen, because there's this whole thing that happened these last 2 years is a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, and things we're hitting family lives. And when that happens and our elected officials don't listen to what we're trying to tell them, and they decide to do whatever they want to do and make the deals across the aisle, that's not in our best interest. And the Tea Party movement kind of got in and told our elected officials exactly that. But I think the Republican Party needs to take a stand and say, look, you need to stand on these principles and values and do not sacrifice those just because you want to have your name on a bill.
And then lastly, just tell us a little about who is Marty Hermanson, and a little more about your accomplishments and why we should support you.
Well, I've been married to my wife Brenda for 24 years, going on 25 next year. I've been in business I work for a wine company now, but I've been in the adult beverage industry, if you will, for about 24 years, almost half my life. I think that one thing that I brought to Pinal County and I will bring to the state party organization is a business style atmosphere, that you have to have goals, you have to measure yourself, and you have to hold people accountable. I think the other thing that I'm really going to work to improve is a two-way communication between the county chairs and the state chair, and the LD chairs to the county chairs. There's no communication going back and forth. The counties feel like they don't have an input or a say on what goes on at the state level. And when we as a party talk about grassroots, right now the state party, well, the Republican Party is still a top-down organization. And I am a grassroots person. I started as getting involved. I haven't been involved like I am now for about 4 years now. Because I was frustrated watching the TV and yelling and screaming at the TV, like we all still do. But I said, look, I could bring something to the table. I could bring something to the game. And one thing I can bring is a very structured communication style. And we have to really build our party on a business platform if we're going to be successful. And that means holding people accountable. That means setting specific, measurable goals, and then believing in them and going out and executing them. In the business world, that's basically the blueprint for successful businesses. You have to have a product to sell. You have to develop the plan, measure the successes against the plan, make adjustments along the way, and bring the results, bottom line. And that's where I will bring structure and organization to this party, which I think is desperately needed at the statewide level. But the work gets done in the legislative districts and the counties. It doesn't get done at the state party. The state party's role, in my opinion, is to be an assistance to be able to achieve the goals that are in place at the countywide level. So my conversations with county chairs are, how are you doing versus goal? What do you need from me or the state party to help you reach those goals? And what's the timetable on where do you think you're going to hit it? And that's the conversation I think we need to have within the state party. The state party is, again, it's an organizational avenue that candidates should be comfortable coming to us and expecting us to help them. And I know there's some frustrations out there right now from the candidates that they feel that they get zero help from the state party. And again, I mean, ideally we as a state party should become more self-sufficient and not rely on the RNC for money or manpower or anything else. We need to develop that. So Marty Hermanson, I bring results. I've been successful in the business side of what I do in business, and I've shown in 2 years that we totally reversed Pinal County from a blue county to a red county, and I'm going to do the same thing at the state party.
Okay, outstanding. This concludes our interview with Marty Hermanson, who's running for state chairman for the Republican Party in the state of Arizona. I'm Chris Flowers for Young Republicans. Just want to say thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.